Good morning, everyone. Good evening. Good afternoon. This is NARCISSIST'S. I'm doing this today in the nature as well. So, either way, depending on which part of the world you're watching from, I salute you all. Welcome to my page. This is the page where breaking paths free. It's your boy NARCISSIST'S. And if you're new to this content and it resonates with you, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. And for the ones who have always been with me, I welcome you back. Thank you for your love and support. In case you need a one-on-one, all the info is in the description below. You can use that information and get to me, and we'll take it from there. So, in today's subject, I'm going to talk about the love spell. So, oftentimes you've heard scientists talking about the trauma bond. But in my own research, after doing my own research, I came to the conclusion that the trauma bond is also spiritually, on spiritual perspective, the trauma bond is also the love spell. So it's the same things, but it's because the scientists term it as the trauma bond. But I look at narcissism on the spiritual perspective, which I think a trauma bond is equivalent to a love spell, definitely. How do you know you're in a love spell, basically? Now, if you've been with a narcissist, you're going to realize that these individuals, they've been abusing you at some extent, to some degree. And now you've come to that extent whereby you hate them. You feel as if you really hate them, deeply hate them, and at the same time, you deeply love them. So it's like you're in a combination of, you're standing in the middle whereby you don't know which side to fall. They will abuse you and you hate it. At the same time, they are going to love you again, and then you're going to fall in love with it. So it's like you're in the middle and you don't know where to fall. So that is the sign of a trauma bond, or something like what I can call a love spell. If you've been love spelled by a narcissist, you have to know it is that feeling whereby you have that inner feeling, deep feeling that somebody is abusing you. But at the same time, it feels as if you cannot let them go. It's like they're abusing you, but at the same time, they are loving you. So they keep on mixing up your brain, like confusing and messing up with your brain, to make you believe that they are the good people for you, but as well, when you bring them back in, they come back in, love bomb you a bit, and then start abusing you again. So they form, the brain, it starts getting mixed signals. The brain, the victim's brain, you start getting mixed signals, and then you now don't know if you should leave, if you should stay, because when you want to leave, they stand in the door and block your way. But at the same time, when you decide to stay with them, you realize that the cycle has now repeated again. It started all over again. Maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, the cycle started all over again. And now you're confused. You don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know, should you leave them? Should you stay? So you don't know, you're in the middle. So that's what they call a love spell. It is that tie, it is like a soul connection, which connects you to your abuser by way of abuse and manipulation. So you get connected to your abusers by way of abuse and manipulation and loving at the same time. So they do all these things at the same time and form something what they call a soul connection. But that soul tie as well, it's an evil soul tie, because it's not an unhealthy soul tie. You see, when you've been love spelled with somebody who is healthy, or if you've been trauma bonded, I've never heard of a trauma bond with somebody who is a healthy individual, but maybe something what they call a soul tie. So if you've been soul tied with somebody who is a healthy individual, even if a relationship doesn't work out, if things have not worked out between you two, you can know that, okay, so you know what, we can go our separate ways. You will separate in a conscious way. You're not going to separate in that way whereby somebody is just going to discard you all of a sudden, wake up in the morning and disappear out of your life like you never existed. You're going to separate consciously, and even then you're going to stay friends with them. You know what I mean? But if you've been discarded by a narcissist, if you're that person who's been discarded by a narcissist, there are those people who have been discarded and they feel that even they want to kill them the next day. You feel like you even want to you want to hurt them, even you want to revenge, you want to kill them because they have really hurt you, and at the same time discarded you. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden they discarded you from nowhere. So, if you ever find yourself in that situation where you see that you cannot let go, because when you're deeply in a love spell, you just feel that you cannot let go. Deep inside you, you know that the person is abusive. You know it from the core that the person is abusive and very, very toxic, but at the same time, you cannot let them go. You try to let them go, then they will see them coming back somewhere. You try to let them go, they will see them. So what is happening spiritually behind the scenes is that those people, they have love spelled you. And love spells, like I've said in my last video, my previous video about the love spell, you can go back and check in my videos. They can do love spells in so many ways. They can do love spells. The narcissist will do love spells through sex. They can do love spells through some sort of concoction or whatever. So it may be because they have got that thing behind them. They've got that spirit behind them. So it's inevitable that when you get in touch with them, when you get into contact with them, somewhere you're going to end up getting love spells. So it's like they are going to trick their way into your heart. It's like tricking their way. It's like finding the shortcut into your heart. So one of the ways you can know that you've been love spelled, because this has been also a question that came in actually from one of my clients. So it's like one of the signs that you've been love spelled is like you're going to find yourself somewhere people are going to be warning you. You're going to find families, friends, relatives. They'll be coming around. They'll warn you. They'll tell you, you know what? According to your situation, we feel like you're deeply in some sort of you're being abused. Sometimes even you've been beaten. If you've been, let me say, with a psychopath or something, you'll find a case whereby they'll even physically harm you. They'll beat you up and mess up your face and everything and break your bones even. And then all of a sudden, people will be coming and telling you that you need to leave. Sometimes even people will come and drag you physically out of the relationship because they'll know that actually it's very, very dangerous for you. But you see, when you get out there, you're going to find yourself spending about maybe 1 week, maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days, and then you feel like, you know what? Probably you need to go back there because it's like you cannot leave. So you're going to defend anybody who talks about those people, those individuals. You're going to defend them to the core. You're going to say, yes, okay, so they are doing that to me, but at the same time, they are sweet, I love them. So it's like inside you, there is something in your soul telling you that the person is very toxic. They're very toxic and abusive, but you cannot let them go. You are going to defend them. Anybody who is trying to tell you or even to warn you about these individuals, you're going to find yourself very deeply defending them and trying to be on their side, even if you know from the core that they're abusive and very toxic for you and not even good for you. So that is one of the signs whereby you're going to find that you're very, very defensive. You are always defending. You are defending your abusers. So nobody can come between the two of you, because anybody comes between the two of you, you feel like they are the threat. So that is a sign of a love spell. It is when you're going to know that you've been love spelled by a narcissist or even a psychopath or a sociopath or whatever. The second thing I'm going to talk about is like they may spend a few days out of your life. There's those cases whereby they are disappearing. They can disappear even for a week or even for 2 weeks. Or sometimes they can even disappear even for a year. Or even sometimes they can even discard you for a very long period of time. And then you're going to find yourself that somehow they are going to show up. Believe me, if you have been love spelled by a narcissist, even if they have disappeared for 2 years or 1 year out of your life, and you'll be walking out somewhere, and you see them on the way by some accident, even by some chance, they are going to start from where they stopped. They're going to pick you up and take you up through the love bombing phase again, and you're going to find yourself falling for the love bomb for the second time, or even the third time, or even the fourth time. So because the love spell the spell has not yet been broken, you know what I mean? I'm going to make a video somehow later on about how to deal with the love spells, what you need to do with the love spells if you've been love spelled. I'm going to make a video about that because this is a spiritual battle you're fighting. It's a spiritual warfare. So you're going to find yourself falling for the love bomb again. The narcissist is going to come back in your life like nothing ever happened. They're going to take you for shopping. They're going to take you to the car dealership and buy for you the next car. They're going to take you and buy for you the next dress. So you're going to fall for that. Deep inside you, you know that this fella is abusive, or this man or woman, they are abusive and very toxic, but you will not hesitate to fall for the love bombing phase again. They're going to take you and love bomb you for the second time, and you're going to fall for it. And even then, you might find yourself even getting back to them getting back to bed with those individuals at that same day. So the love bombing phase, it is always the same. They're going to fall for that. So if you ever find yourself in a situation whereby you've not seen those individuals, those toxic fellas, for years, months, years, I don't know, then all of a sudden they're showing up, and then they're holding your hand all of a sudden from nowhere and taking you to the shops to do a very big shopping for you, buying for you the next car and whatever, buying for you the next dress, you know what I mean, even sometimes sleeping with you. You have to know that's a love spell, especially if you know from the deep inside you that these individuals that they're toxic. It's another sign of a love spell. Another sign I can talk about is like if these individuals have left your life, you're going to feel as if they're still around. Now, a love spell, I've always told you in my videos, guys, this is a spiritual connection. A love spell is something that they use, those narcissists, sometimes, most of the time, they'll use it to tie themselves to you. You know what I mean? So it's like when they have tied themselves to you, spiritually, they're still in your presence, even if they have left. It does not matter how long they have gone away or how long they have left you. Wherever you go, you close your eyes, you will see them. For some reason, you close your eyes and you will see them in front of you. You open your eyes, you still see them. You open in the morning, you get up in the morning and you open your windows, it's like you'll see them standing behind your windows. Sometimes when you open the door and you feel like they're standing in front of the door. So it's like you see, I've always told you guys, this thing is a spiritual warfare. It's a spiritual battle. The individuals, they are connected with a very dark spirit. And it is also why I'm saying that now. Many people and many individuals out there, many people who have been involved with the narcissists, they have always mentioned seeing these people everywhere. It's like wherever you look, they are there. You turn around, they are there. You go to sleep, you feel them even in the bed sometimes. So if you ever have that situation whereby the person has even left you, and then all of a sudden you open the window, you feel like you see them out of the window. It's like you open the door, then you think it's like they're standing next to the door. It's like sometimes you're cooking in the kitchen, you're by yourself. But for some reason you're cooking in the kitchen, you're looking around, it's like you feel them next to you there, they're walking around the house, you know what I mean? So that is a sign that you've been love spelled by a narcissist or even those toxic individuals and the psychopaths and the sociopaths. Another sign you may see, it's like you always have the hope. You have that deep hope inside you that they're going to come back. You have got the hope. You know these individuals, they are bad for you. They have been beating you on the daily basis. They have been abusing you deeply. Every single day. They have been deeply abusing you and, you know, manipulating your brain. But for some reason, you're always opening the window and looking around as if they are going to, you know, feeling or even wishing that they're coming back. It's like on a daily basis, you cannot sleep, you cannot do nothing. It's like you feel and you wish. You're always checking your phones. You know they are toxic, but at the same time you're checking your phones and you're feeling that they should call you even. Thinking if there was a missed call from them, you know, feeling maybe there was a missed call, or sometimes you're looking in the windows. You find yourself looking through the windows and feeling or wishing even that they would come back even that same day into your life. So on a daily basis, you miss them. Very deeply miss them. But you know if you're missing somebody who's a toxic individual, that has got nothing to do with love. It is a love spell. So if you find yourself in that situation whereby you're sneaking, looking through the windows somewhere outside in the yard, and wishing that they are around there, they have come back, maybe they have returned into your life, or even sometimes you're walking around and looking everywhere, hoping that you are going to see them, you have got to know that if they are toxic people, you know that they are toxic. You have got to know that that's a sign of a love spell. So you've been love spelled at some extent. Another sign you may see, if you've been love spelled, to tell you that you've been love spelled, you might realize that somewhere, somehow, even in their absence, you seem to look around and do the same things you guys have always done. So you've been with these individuals, let me say, for 4 or 5 years. And then for some reason you find they have left you, you guys have separated, or maybe they have discarded you or something because they always discard people. So you find yourself, you're cooking the same meal you guys used to eat. You're using the same beds you guys used to sleep. You know, you're missing them all the time. You're looking at those small activities you guys used to do at home. Maybe there was a favorite gym you guys used to go, a favorite gym or a favorite sports facility club, or there was a favorite pub you guys used to sit, or a cafe. And you're finding yourself, even in their absence, you're still participating in those things that you guys used to do together. So that's a sign that you're in a love spell. If you find yourself in that situation whereby Those fellas, they have left your life and they have gone somewhere. You know, they have discarded you, they have left your life for some time. But at home, you find yourself, you're still cooking those same meals you guys used to eat. You're still dressing the same way, because maybe there's a certain dress they bought for you. You're still using that dress. You're dressing using that dress, or even that trouser, or whatever, those clothes. You're still feeling attached to their, you know, those jewelry they've always bought for you. You're still, it's on a daily basis. It's like you cannot let them go. You are looking at their photos. You know they are toxic. They have even sometimes physically harmed you. You know from the deep of your core that they are toxic. But for some reason, you are always engaged in previous activities. You are going to the places you used to go. You're doing the things you guys used to do together. You're still sitting in those cafes. Sometimes you're sitting around and you're wishing they were around. You know, it's like you cannot let go of the previous things you guys used to do when you are with them. But from the deep inside, you know that you need to forget them and they are toxic, and you don't know how to do that. So that is a sign that you're in a love spell. It is normal, because if a person has been in a toxic relationship, you can always find yourself that you're having some of these signs that I've talked about. You know, you might have experienced some of these signs that I've talked about. And eventually everybody heals differently. There are some people who are really strong, you know, they can fight this and heal very quickly. But there are some people who heal very, very slowly, depending. All individuals heal at a different time. You know what I mean? So if you've seen some of these things I've talked about, I need to hear from you in the comment section below. Let me see if there are some of those signs I've talked about that resonate with you. And either way, I can guarantee that if you're on my page, just follow the procedures. You can go back to my videos. I've talked about prayers to break a soul tie. So you can use the things like that. You can use those prayers. You can use prayer. If you're a prayerful person, use the prayer to break a soul tie. But also I've mentioned the practical methods you can use to break the soul tie. You know what I mean? There are practical methods I've talked about breaking a soul tie, and there are also spiritual methods I've talked about breaking a soul tie. So you can go back to my videos, and there's all the information you need. And until then, guys, I hope this video resonates with you out there and with anybody out there. Other than that, it's been a lovely day to speak with you. I hope to get back to you. Much love and blessings. There's more signing out. Love you all.